Good morning and welcome back to the shop. So today what we're going to be covering is some light fixtures that I do for Old California Lighting. And the reason that I wanted to cover this is because it goes into kind of the doing small parts. And when you're going to be routing out small parts, especially like this, I use a pretty big pattern bit to route this profile into this. And using a router bit like this, you don't want your hands close to the bit when you're doing a small piece like this. So this is where in the introduction video and the shop tour, I kind of showed you my wall with all of the jigs in it. Here's the jig that we're going to be using for this. So you can see if you look at it this way here, we've got the profile in it, and I've got both sides of the profile. Because the piece is so wide, when you have the pattern bit and you're cutting it, it's not going to get the entire piece all at one time, because the bearing here at the bottom has to ride along the jig. So as it's riding along this template, you're only getting this cutting dimension here on the piece that you're cutting. So we're not going the whole way. So there's a couple ways to do it, but the easiest way is on here. So we clamp our piece in, and we're going to actually show this, and I'll have video of me actually routing the pieces out. But this is how you do this. So the bit's in the router table, the bearing's going to roll along there, and we'll cut this piece. Then once it's cut, we pull the piece out, flip it, and do the remaining side. The other way you could do it would be, once the first part's done, to hold this and do the second, because then the router bit would be riding along the actual piece you just cut. The reason that you don't want to do that without using the template jig is that with your hands in there close to the bit, if you're coming through and it grabs it and pulls, there's no way that you're going to get your hands out of the way in time. And a bit like this is going to lead to you losing part of your hand probably. So what we're going to be doing, what these are for, so like I said, they're for a light fixture for Old California Lighting. This is what the fixture looks like when it's actually complete. So I'll have a picture up in the corner that'll show you what the light's like complete. These are the same ones I did in my bathroom remodel. These are the sconces that are in the Gamble house in the bathrooms there. Wiring comes in a box in the back. Up here there's a copper piece that covers the top so that that's all enclosed and not open. So that's one of the ones we're doing. So here's the piece for the wall hanger. Here's the actual fixture itself. So once we've got everything done and sanded, those will mount like that. So we got to do all the roundovers and everything as well. One change I made with these, so this one I was holding up here is one of the original ones that I got from the lighting company that was an example, so that I could see what they looked like. One of the ways that they did it originally was this little piece you see here that raises up in this one is a separate piece. So if you look closely, you can see the grain pattern's a little different in this piece that comes through. So, you know, with the advent of technology and not being afraid to embrace the future, using the CNC, these are all actually out of one piece of wood. So if you look at the grain pattern, you can see that the grain pattern runs top to bottom all the way through. So with the roundover bits and the different bits, we can make all of this out of one piece of wood without having to do two separate ones, round over this one, glue it on, and all of that. So it does it all in one step. Puts in our holes for the ebony, and we're good to go. So that's one of the hillside models. And the second model is this one here. This one doesn't get an arm. It just has a actual metal arm that hangs off of it. There's no wood arm that hangs out. There's a metal rod that comes down here and hangs off. So this is a separate version of the same type of light. And we'll probably be doing some videos on how those are made as well. So let's get over the router table and we'll get busy on routing these pieces out. So right here we've got the hanging part. As you can see, this is prior to the angle or the arc being routed into it. So grabbed the jig, gonna put one piece on each side, so then we can do them and just flip them. The router bit here is called the Big Daddy. That comes from William Ing at William Ing Studios in Orange County. So here again, you want to slowly try and take material out. You don't want to try to do the entire amount all at one time. If you try and hog out all of that material at one time, the bit's going to want to grab or bind, and it's going to do some damage and suck that into it. So just take a little bit each time, work your way through until your bearing gets up against the fence, and then you can just run it through. So bringing it in here, just a little bit at a time. If you've ever tried routing end grain, the bit tends to want to grab it. So just right here, you can see I'm just kind of taking that end grain a little bit at a time. Now I'm up against the bearing, and we're going to go ahead and push through right against the bearing all the way through. And now, like I said, we'll flip them. There we go. And now let's do the other side. So as you can see, this time you can take a little more material because you're not taking that full height of the bit. So you can take a little bit more material out with each pass because you're using a smaller portion of the bit to do that. So again, working my way in, careful with the end grain. Don't want it to grab and take out a big chunk. And I'm gonna go ahead and round through. So there we go. The little burning and all that, don't worry about that. All that's going to sand off. So hopefully what we just showed there kind of gives you an idea of some ways that you can pattern route things, keep your hands out of the way, stay safe, and do different things with the router table so that you can do complicated patterns without having a CNC or some other Wazoo tool. My patterns I make with the CNC, I can put them in and do them on the CNC, but it's just as easy to do with tracing out a pattern, cutting it out on the bandsaw, cleaning it up with your sander, and doing it that way. So look out for that in an upcoming video. Remember, if you like what you're seeing, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications when our new videos are coming out. We're going to try and be putting one out every Monday, so one every week. If you do that, that really helps us out. And if you have any questions about what you saw today, or any questions about what you saw in the first video, please put those in the comments down below. We read all the comments. If there's something that we can help you with, or a question, if I wasn't clear about something that we did in the process here, then put the comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Till next time.